Are you alright?
You alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't received anything back from Tony Ruber today, so I'm just about to email him asking him what's going on.
Okay. Do I presume that's because they haven't decided whether they're going to take a case?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll ask him. I'll just see what's going on. So I'll send it to him. When was it? I sent it to the 12th, 13th, something like that, wasn't it?
Can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's the 12th or 13th. Thursday or the Friday before last.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah. So they should have got it by now. I suppose they might have written a check out or something. I don't know. But I'll email him and ask him what's going on.
Okay.
And he should get back to me probably tomorrow now. That's 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke to Dennis. He said he'll give you a ring tomorrow.
Okay.
He's been in meetings today. He's got another one to go to.
Alright.
But if he hasn't phoned you by 12 o'clock, and then you ring him.
Okay.
That's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got his number, I take it.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah. What was I going to say to you? When you make that email inquiry to Tony Ruper about the 250 quid, will you also ask about the 950 and see if they're prepared to stump it up in advance? Because I haven't got it to lay out right now.
No. Well, I thought if they said they're going to take the case on, they could pay you the 250 back, and then they should automatically pay it. But I will ask.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't want. Right, I mean, I've just answered Andy Brown. Right.
Yeah.
Arrogant fucker he is. I mean, he wasn't even sort of friendly in his email. He just said, "Mr. Fisk, da 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 da,"
Yeah.
And so I just replied in the same tone. I'm not being funny, but I've always been polite with him, even though I know that the guy's setting me up to get me out of my job.
Yeah.
It's fucking honestly, it annoys me, Ian, because I'm giving them every opportunity to settle this and deal with this matter before the tribunal. Yeah, I've had an answer back from Moya Greene, from her team, and they won't. I asked her if she wanted to intercede before this goes to ET, and their attitude is just, you're going to an ET, we can't comment. And I thought, well, here we are talking about how much money is this going to cost. It's surely in their interest to prevent this, and to do that, all they've got, and to do that, all they've got to do is investigate this complaint. And I said to Andy Brown just now, I'll tell you what I've written to him. Right. When I wrote to him the other day, it was Saturday after I read this stuff, I said, "Dear Andy Brown, thank you for supplying me with the evidence in your investigation, which I received by special delivery this morning. I've just finished reading through that material, and I can tell you that there are many, many, many untruths therein. Before making your decision, I request that you meet with me early this coming week at my home, which I wish to record, and will put before you evidence that refutes much of the material you have sent me.
Yeah.
I believe that this will take a long time, so it may be necessary to release me from work for the day. Yours sincerely, James Fisk." There's nothing wrong with that, is there? It's a polite letter.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
The answer I've got back today is from him. Hold on. How's that gone? Shit, I just printed that. Bear with me, I've lost it. Son of a bitch. Hang on a sec.
That's fine.
For some reason I've printed it and I've lost it. Why is that in my inbox? Why is that in my inbox? Fucking hell. Sorry. Show message. Well, I pressed reply, but it's not sent, I don't think. Anyway, so his response. Where's the fucking response? Oh yeah, thank you for your prompt response in respect of the disclosed evidence. In order for me to fully consider your requests, could you reply to this email explaining 1. Why you wish for a further meeting as opposed to commenting in writing. Okay, yeah, I've got dyslexia and dyspraxia anyway, you know. How long do they want to take writing through all this, you know? 2, why you consider the proposed meeting should be at your home rather than on Royal Mail Group premises. 3, why you wish to record the interview. I will consider any answers you make to the above and respond accordingly. Regards, Andy Brown. Right, so to that, honestly, this fucking email program. I've said, right, Mr. Brown, thank you for your reply. As to question 1, I have explained my reasons for a further meeting with you in my email to you dated 21 June 2014. As to question 2, I've offered to present you with further evidence that contradicts the statements of certain individuals in this case. In the interest of a fair investigation, you should at least be prepared to come and examine it. I'm currently off sick from work, but even if I were not, I would not be bringing my library of evidence into the office. Also, other investigating managers have visited me at my home in regard to my complaints, so I see no reason why you would object. As to question 3, I have disabilities of dyslexia and dyspraxia, as I'm sure you're aware, and much of what we discussed at our previous meeting I cannot recall because it was not recorded by me. But you will be aware that I rejected the notes of that meeting, as I felt they were not an accurate representation of what was discussed. All I want you to do is investigate my complaints and make the right decision based on evidence, which should be your objective too. Furthermore, I feel that you should have interviewed Ian Longman and Dennis King, union representatives, as they are witnesses in this case. If this is not to your satisfaction, you must make your decision as you see fit and conclude this procedure without further delay. Regards, James Fisk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, they're just going to hang me out to dry rather than deal with the case. And they will spend all the money of a tribunal rather than accept that the man's in the wrong, him and Salmon, you know, both of them are in the wrong. You know, I've got like evidence from Hazy and Pat that is just, well, very disappointing, I'll say that. You know.
Well, did it surprise you, really?
No, because I know that the managers are, I mean, they're concerned about their own jobs, I suppose, but, you know, I've never made a personal attack on Pat or Paul.
No.
I've just stated the facts, you know. I don't know if they wrote their statements or someone wrote them for them or what, but even so, as I say, it's disappointing. But how can I work with those people? I can't trust I can't trust anyone in that company right now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know they're going to do their level best to set me up. I mean, Pat Parsons called me paranoid at work again the other day. You know, because Michelle keep coming round, you know, and I get pissed off with it the way she is about this whole surcharge thing. And I've asked him before now. I told him when I first came back and I was on rehab, keep her away from me, you know. I just think she's harassing me, and you know I can see how they would be able to use something like that to start an argument and then get me for harassment, you know, or for sexual harassment or something like that. So I can't keep going to work when I'm thinking like that, can I?
No, not really.
I've spent three.
You can't say anything, you can't do it.
That's what I mean, you know. I've spent 3.5 years having to look over my shoulder in that place, waiting for the hammer to fall. You know, and now obviously it has fallen, or is about to. But, you know, did I tell you that John O'Shea came there less than 77 days after me?
I didn't know that, no.
No, neither did I. I thought it was 6 months or so, but it wasn't. It was January 2011, and I was reinstated on the 15th of November 2010. And I don't know if you know anything to the contrary, but there was no evidence when I went there that Andrew Dawson had any intentions of leaving. And then all of a sudden he looked all stressed out, and then I just heard it, as I'm sure you did, that he was gone for 6 months to Peterborough on that world-class job. Which,
yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Which is a lower paying, well, it's a lower graded job, isn't it, than a mail centre manager. Now who the...
Well, if it's the same one as Robert Best, then it's the same.
That's what I'm...
Robert Best earns the same grade and the same wage. Yeah.
Really? Is it?
He's told me that on numerous occasions, yeah. He does like talking about how much money he's got.
Yeah, I did hear that he gets 50 grand a year for what he does.
Something like that, yeah.
With the perks.
He told me it was the same as O'Shea, so I don't know, but this is what he told me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think, and this worries me, but I believe that he was moved on purpose. Now, you can call it paranoid or not, but all the events fit the bill. And I believe that he was told to move over, and I think, as I've said elsewhere, that before the ink was even dry on that tribunal's remedy order, that they were already planning how to come back at me, you know. And I think O'Shea was sent there for that reason. That's why it was a 6-month thing. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, possibly.
And you got to admit, right, I told them at the tribunal I had hoped to go on to, or it was while I was at uni, I was looking at going on the graduate programme, you know.
Yeah.
And when I came to Norwich, of course, before I even got into that, or while I was looking into that, John O'Shea came there. And how could I possibly do the graduate programme when I would have had to perform to John O'Shea and he would have been grading me? Do you know what I mean? So that and the fact that I would have had to move around the country, that I had to drop that. But every other thing I've tried in there, as far as I can see, has been blocked and sabotaged. And it wasn't, you know, I mean, it wasn't until this thing with the deputy manager's job they've actually had some proof of that, you know. I gave him the opportunity to explain himself, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that that's what's happened, and to make that happen, someone further up in the company would have to be involved, wouldn't they? You know, you don't just transfer...
Well, he wouldn't do all off his own back.
That's what I mean. You don't just transfer from being a shift manager in Ipswich to becoming a mail centre manager in Norwich overnight if someone doesn't allow that to happen. And the one that worries me is Tim Kai, because his name's all over everything, you know. Even when I was at Halesworth.
We did get, sorry to interrupt, we did get Darren Maxted. He was a CFC manager at Brighton, and he also became shift manager up here on the late shift, when there was other people who were definitely more qualified for his job.
Right.
So, yeah, and that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, but you like to say this thing bothers me, and you can ask Dennis about it. Tim Kai was the one that told me to put in this bullying and harassment complaint that we're going through right now. Okay? And he tried to use the word accusations, and Dennis stopped him from doing it, and all of a sudden he apologised and all that. But he was involved... Paul Browning involved him at Halesworth. He was involved before... He was involved at the tribunal, behind the scenes. He was involved in me coming back to Norwich and getting me to do a ATOS assessment. You know, obviously I'd asked for an independent and unbiased manager. Here's this guy that's been involved all of these different areas, and they give me in for the stage 3 manager. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's starting to look very dodgy, and one of these statements actually says that Tim Kai met with Paul Hayes and someone else and said, you've got to take Jim Fisk back, but it uses the words, allegedly Tim Kai's words, accusations. Now, Dennis King told him off for that several times in the meeting, and yet he still used the word in speech to other managers, you know. And we know that he didn't do what he was supposed to do in following up that investigation. You know? I don't know him other than from when I've met him, you know, at the meeting, but someone got John O'Shea in that office, and I don't know if it's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't... Yeah, without proof. I mean, the only proof is that his name's all over these emails from Halesworth and the letters that I have about coming back to Norwich and what he's actually said in the stage 3 meeting. But it doesn't say that he is the man that's got the authority to do it, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Look, I'm not going to keep you on the phone. I just thought I'd air that opinion and let you think about it, because it doesn't look good to me. You know.
Well, there's something in it somewhere, isn't there? What's that?
I do believe there is. Yeah. There's a whole lot of lying going on here.
Oh yeah. Well, we know that anyway.
Yeah. I just
They're
can't.
all covering each other's backs by the sound of it.
But I can't see what they gain from this. They waste a lot of money, and at the end of the day, well, I was going to say heads will probably roll, but they didn't the last time, did they? You know?
No, they just moved them about.
And not just moved them about, they promoted them in.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But I say it's not just around here; it's everywhere. Other branches, union branches at conferences and stuff like that. It's happening everywhere. And even Moya Greene's there, and people are telling her that, and she doesn't agree. She doesn't agree with it. She said, "Well, no, it's not. It's not like that, or something like that." But it plainly is, as plain as a no on your face.
Yeah.
And she's not even agreeing to it. So if she's not agreeing to it, she runs the place.
Yeah, I
It's
suppose.
her own sort.
I suppose the question is, how much does she know? As far as what the people report to her.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how much does she?
Like that business when she said, so it's like that business when she said about harassment. When somebody said to her, when are you going to stop this harassment from managers to staff? And she said, well, from the reports I've seen, it's mainly staff to staff. That there's more staff, postman to postman, than it is manager to postman. And everybody sort of gave her some shit for that.
Yeah, well, see, that's the problem, isn't it? And I think that's why they are not actually dealing with my complaints. Because my complaint, in essence, is about John O'Shea harassing me, bullying and harassing me, intimidating me, Tony Salmon harassing me, right? These are managers. They're not just managers, but they've previously been involved in that case down in Ipswich. This is now ongoing for at least 6 years. Of course they're going to try and deny it. She's probably never heard of the first one. When I wrote to her, I actually asked her, have you heard of this case? Have you heard of the one that's pending? Do you condone the waste of, our company's funds and stuff, on these tribunals, do you know what I mean? And all I get is a statement back saying, we're not going to interfere because you're going to a tribunal. I'm going to a tribunal because you won't fucking deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It's not like I want to go to a tribunal. It costs me a lot of time, a lot of effort. I have to do a hell of a lot of work, unpaid work, just to go in there and get vindicated. At the end, if I do get vindicated, if they do a good job and set me up proper, I might not even win the case. But I can't get heard in the company won't address the issue. They won't address the people responsible. And I've used all the mechanisms. All I can do is, put it out there to what should be an impartial organisation or judge to make a fair decision. But such a waste of money, Ian. And what this does to my health is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just...
They don't care, you're just a number at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah. Shit. It is absolutely shit.
Yeah.
Never mind. Right, alright, look, I'll get off the phone and, I'll stop whinging at you.
Yeah, I'll send this email off to Tony Rubin now.
Yeah, alright, mate.
And, see how we go.
Yeah.
Ask him where the money is, what's going on. Yeah?
Okay. I appreciate that.
Alright then.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll speak to you
Alright,
later.
if Dennis hasn't phoned you by 12 o'clock tomorrow, give him a ring.
Yeah, okay, mate. Yeah, thank you.
Alright then.
Cheers, Ian.
No problem.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.